Right, next up. Songhai. I should probably go a little faster through these. It's 20 to 10 already. So, Bakazori, 4 mana 2/6 epic. Whenever this minion is moved for any reason, draw a card. We've already seen how good Flame Wreath is. This one gets you less temp. Why is there an 11 mana spell? This one gets you less tempo, but it draws cards and is bigger by itself. So when they inevitably dispel it, it's less bad. I think that's really cool. I think that's very strong. I will happily play Kalios with both it and Flame Wreath and see how that goes. Hey, Sakura Fisk, thanks for joining. Cold Fist, 4 mana 4/4 common. Intensify, give a random nearby friendly minion +2 attack this turn. Random nearby, I didn't notice it was random. But still, that's not too hard to influence with positioning. Just play it next to only one thing. This card's pretty strong, I think. The one interesting thing about it is that it's a gauntlet friendly 4-drop that you actually don't want to play on turn 2 going first, because you won't get any value off the ability, other than buffing your other Cold Fist if you've got a second one in your deck. But I think this card is pretty cool. It's very similar to a Hearthstone card that's Dark Iron Dwarf. 4 mana 4/4 ETB, give something +2 attack this turn, which is like a good card, especially in draft. Like, that's very solid playable. So I think Cold Fist will be good. Hideatsu, the Ammon Ox. I love this guy. Like, the flavor is amazing. He just from looking at him, he looks like an anime boss, you know. Trial, summon 7 minions from your action bar with different costs. That is very hard to do without dying, especially in Songhai. Destiny, summon friendly minions to deal their cost as damage to an enemy. That is very easy to kill somebody with, although maybe not as much in Songhai. I'm deliberately not reading the 11 mana spell yet. I just want to let it sit there on the screen. I'm slow rolling myself. I'm looking forward to this. What is Intensify? Intensify, each time it triggers, which is whenever you play the minion, like with Bond. Oh, that's why it's random, isn't it? Because it doesn't target. Anytime you summon the minion, it gets the effect multiplied by the number of times you've played that card. So the first Cold Fist gives +2 attack, the second Cold Fist gives +4, and so on. Wait, it actually triggers separately, doesn't it? So Thanatos, you're here. Can your second Cold Fist give 2 minions +2 attack, or is it a single instance of +4? Use Ash Method with Ox, 15 damage. Whoa, that's really good. There's a lot of Ash Method combos in this set. Like, I swear, like every other Reddit thread, people are like, Ash Method, Ash Method. It's like old Kara days. No, Cold Fist is a single instance of +4. Okay, thanks, good to know. So it's one effect multiplied rather than an effect that triggers multiple times. Yeah, I think Hideatsu is going to be a bit awkward. I do like that you get a 0 mana 5/5 to recoup the tempo you spent playing Songhai minions. Because having tried to play like heavily minion-based Songhai decks, it's really difficult. I think you might have to lean on stuff like Sunset Paragon. But if the other trials are allowed in Highlander, which I kind of doubt, but if the Highlander format, he would be really good. Because you do play a high curve in Highlander, you play all these random minions, the format's slower, so he would be fantastic in Highlander. Horned Mask. 1 mana, epic artifact. Your general gains +1 attack. After a friendly minion with backstab attacks, it gains +1/+1. That is excellent. Obviously, specifically excellent in Backstab Kalios, and it doesn't work that well unless you've already got something backstabbing, but like, worst comes to worst, like, I always thought, is it Sunstone Braces, the Lionor artifact that's like 0 mana, get +1 attack? I always thought that was actually kind of playable, because it just kills 2-drops. And this kills a 2-drop. And then hopefully buffs your backstab minions, and that's good. Mech decks could run Hideatsu. They could do. The problem is like the 5 to 7 drops. The 6 drops are all good, but outside of that. Kaito Expert, 3 mana 2/2. Backstab 1. Whenever this minion backstabs, summon a minion with backstab that costs 2 or less from your deck nearby. That's so cool. It's not much, like, you've got a 2/2 and like a 1/3 in play, but that's super cool. I really like that design. I don't think it's very good as a card, like, power-wise, but I think it's really interesting and really neat. And we might see some minion that's like 2 mana, 5/6 backstab, but to cast it, you can't cast it unless you've played 7 spells this turn or whatever. So there might be some combo with it. Alright, here we go. Kensho Vortex. 11 mana spell. Costs 1 less for each spell you cast this game. Whenever you cast a spell this turn, summon a minion that costs up to 2 more nearby your general. Wow. That is some BS. I like that a lot. What's the best way to abuse that? Just play it in Highlander. I recently started playing. I started tinkering with like hero power Raver decks where you play Cryptographer, Bloodbound Mentor, Geomancer. Like you could play Sanguinar. I haven't, but you could. And then like spell triggers like Alcuin Lawmaster and stuff. And it's slow but reasonably effective. I need to find the right thing to flesh out the shell, but in general the idea is quite powerful. Like you make Heartseekers, you duplicate spells, you generate random spells, put them in your hand. So that could be very good with this because you've got basically you end up with a very high density of cards in your deck that say cast a spell. So it's a way to trigger Arcanists or to charge up something like this. Shidai card, I think. Yeah, you could play it with Shidai, and then you've got like Shidai can Bloodborne spell for 2 minions, Cryptographer, Bloodborne spell again. You have 6 mana for 4 3-drops. Which is like okay. But I think that wait, if you play 2 Kensho Vortexes in one turn, does the second one count as 11 mana, or does it count as whatever you actually cast it for? Like, because that sounds breakable. I have to try that. Thanatos, if you're there, do cost reductions count for Kensho Vortex's own ability? Like, if I play it, can I get a hypothetical 13 drop off the second one? Like no, not a Blood Tora. Wait, how does that interact with Blood Tora? If I play a 6 mana spell, can I get a Blood Tora if I'm on 6 life? Well, if not, then there's no 13 drop in the game. Well, it says summon a minion that costs up to 2 more, so but it could make like it could make the 9 mana 25/25, for instance, for like no mana, which could be busted. If so, I'm so doing that. Knuckle Storm, 1 mana, common, intensify, deal 1 damage to an enemy. This card I'm very excited for. You're asking me about Songhai things of which I'm afraid I know nothing about. Oh, I'm sorry. If you have any devs to hand that might know, could you possibly bug them for me if that's not too much of a hassle? I'd really like to know how that works. I mean, I could just try it, and I will. But right, Knuckle Storm, 1 mana common, intensify, deal 1 damage. This card is very strong. Obviously by itself is nothing to sniff at, but it's a cheaper Phoenix Fire when looked at in the context of Mantra and 8 gates. This card is basically combo central. You don't actually... So 8 gates River and the like are already pretty strong. And they rely heavily on generating extra Phoenix Fires, like Lantern Fox and stuff. Knuckle Storm makes that much simpler. All you need to do is generate Knuckle Storms, which you can do with things like Meditate, which we'll get to in a minute, Alcuin Lawmaster, or just drawing them. 8 gates plus 3 Knuckle Storms from scratch is 12 damage for 5 mana. Like, the sheer mana efficiency on Knuckle Storm makes it really strong. You can go Heaven's Eclipse, pull 8 gates, double Knuckle Storm, and just hit your opponent for 7 with your remaining 4 mana. It's really good. And of course, if you've got a big hand, if you're like 8 gates, Knuckle Storm, Phoenix Fire, or whatever, you just insane amounts of damage. So Knuckle Storm's sheer mana efficiency, as well as its combo potential, I think make it very powerful. Massacre Artist, 4 mana, 2/5, legendary. Backstab 2 after this minion attacks, and backstabs all attacks and backstabs this turn. So this triggers all your backstab synergy. So got your got the Kaito Expert from up here, and Scroll Thief, Scroll Bandit even. And other than that, it's basically like play this within a focus and you get a Boulder Breacher, which is fine. I think that's pretty good. Like, it helps your backstab minions not actually have to be behind things, so you can make a bunch of trades with your tiny minions, which is pretty handy. It is very sad that we're losing Katara, which is our main source of giant backstab, but it goes really well with... It goes especially well with the artifact, actually. Horn Mask. Like, this thing plus Massacre Artist. Oh wait, does that actually count? It says a friendly minion with backstab, not when a minion backstabs. I would guess it works, but We'll come back to that. Meditate. 0 mana rare spell. Shuffle 5 copies of the spell you cast most recently into your deck. If I am playing a deck with lots of card draw, Spelljammer, Heaven's Eclipse, various cycling cards, and Knuckle Storm, then I want the hell out of Meditate because I can get up to like 6 damage on just one Knuckle Storm, and that's busted. What if opponent plays Archon, then you are sad? Well, actually, that's a good point, yeah. If I play a 1 mana spell that's been upped to 2 mana by Archon, can it make a 4-drop? This with Knuckles and Kolmar. Ooh. That could work. But then you have to play like 22 drops in your spell combo deck. I'd rather just play more card draw. Oh, wow. Huh. Orizuru, 3 mana 3/4 common with flying. That is... yeah, that is up there. That is an amazing common for draft. That is fantastic. I'm going to pick the hell out of that. That's great. It threatens ranged units, deals chip damage from across the map, takes mana tiles, extends threat range. Like, that's just super annoying and amazingly powerful. I like it. Penitentiary, 3 mana epic spell. Surround the enemy general with friendly Pando that disappear at the start of your next turn. So this card basically only does combos. We thought about Ancestral Divination earlier. I like the fact that you can use it early on to slow your opponent down, so your combo deck can dig to find the stuff it needs to do. Or you can use it later on to kill them. But what I'm going to be doing this with is playing it with Namavor to mill them to death. Because if their general has nothing next to them, then Namavor, Mana Vortex Penitentiary is 24 mil, which will probably kill them. Or take away all their cards. If I recall correctly, when something such as a minion hits the board, they reset to their original mana cost, but these items that play based on mana cost, I have no clue. I'll just have to tinker with it. I'm sure the card is fun, and these interactions won't really affect its power level one way or another, so we'll just have to figure out how it works. Oh my. Phoenix Barrage. 5 mana common spell. Deal 3 damage to anything. Put a Phoenix Fire into your action bar. That's really good. I like mostly for draft, but you could play that in Mantra. You could play that in 8 gates. I think 5 mana deal 3 is not very efficient on the ladder, but this in Gauntlet's really solid. Second Self, 2 mana rare spell. Put an exact copy of a friendly minion into your action bar. So this is obviously good with like your killing edge and things. I like this a lot more than the mirror that copies 2 mana cards, because that was always really awkwardly limited. Whereas this, you can play it on a big thing, and that's great. I think this card's going to be quite fun. Whether does it combo with anything? Like off the top of my head, I don't really see it seeing a ton of ladder play, but in draft, I think you can... in Gauntlet, you can pick this early and draft around it with buff spells and get a load of value. And lastly, the 5 mana 4/4 legendary Songhai Cannoneer. It's got ranged. Whenever you summon, presumably, another minion with ranged, that minion gains rush. That is really, really powerful. Like 4/4 with range is already really good. And this thing is a ridiculous strategic threat on top of that even. So yeah, it's going to be bonkers. I don't know if it's going to... oh god, Mechazor. It's good. yeah, Mech Songhai will want this. Yep, enough said.